Hey, Think Realty, thanks so much for joining us today. It's my privilege as the founder of Think Realty to come and interview some fantastic guests for you. They don't let me do much these days as I sit in kind of the founder, chairman role, but you know what? The one thing they let me do is my favorite thing to do, and that's to interview great guests and bring you great content as a long-time Think Realty viewer and listener. We've got a great guest here in just a second, but let me say a quick thank you to our podcast sponsor, which is Civic Financial. Civic Financial Services proudly serve brokers and investors. Civic is the reliable lender for real estate investments, including buy and hold, fix and flip, fix to rent. To learn more, go to Civic FS, that's Frank Sally, civicfs.com/Think Realty. And if you put that /Think Realty on there, they've got something special. So I've got a longtime friend and colleague as a guest today, Nema Daghbandan. Thank you so much for joining the show. Nema, are you on with us? Very good. There you are.
Yes, great to talk to you, Eddie. Always good to catch up. Can I already bombard this and mess up this entire interview?
Go ahead, do it.
So you know that, like, how you had to do that little script? Do you watch Ben Shapiro at all?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Okay, so he has to do the same thing. And the things they make him advertise, so now I'm thinking about this, is I'm going to find some company to advertise on Think Realty. This is going to be so uncomfortable and just go super tomato red when you have to do it.
Oh yeah. I've already been in the sun enough, but yeah, like literally what's great, which I love Civic, by the way. Civic is our sponsor, but I didn't know what our sponsor was until I just clicked the button and it pops up to read the script. Like I literally would have read whatever came up in front of me at that moment, and I may not have even comprehended what I read. So it might have taken me a few minutes to get read after I realized whatever company you came up with, you know?
I'm going to go find like a male lingerie brand. Don't worry about it, Eddie.
Perfect. It'll be awesome. As long as you spend money with Think Realty, I'm fairly certain they'll take it and put it in front of me. I don't think they care. But anyways, I appreciate it. So if you are a Think Realty viewer listener, Nema, aside from being a great friend, Geraci, which he is a partner of Geraci LLP, which is a law firm out of California, is our general counsel to our sister company, which is the American Association of Private Lenders. And so Nema and I get to spend a lot of time working on legislative issues specific to the real estate space as well as the lending space. And maybe if we get some time at the end, we'll talk about one that is actually kind of poking its head up in the state of California a little bit coming up. But let's jump into just, I want the audience to know what you guys provide as services and what type of law that you're involved in at Geraci. So if you don't mind, just kind of give the brief overview for me.
Yeah, absolutely, Eddie. Appreciate that and appreciate your time today. You know, Geraci LLP is a very niched law firm, and it's been the entire time I've been here. I've been here for a little over 12 years. And all we've really done is we've represented mortgage lenders and more specifically private lenders. That's been 90% of our business and continues to be. And so this space is one in which there's just not a lot of attorneys and law firms that specialize within it. So typically, if you're at a large law firm, you have, you're used to representing large banks and other financial institutions. They're all highly regulated and typically do very large transactions. In this world, we typically represent private lenders and smaller balance transactions, right? So these, called sub $2 million loans. And there's just not a lot of law firms that were designed around that concept. And the thing that makes this really unique is that the collateral for our loans, and you know this well, Eddie, is typically single family households. And that makes it a really unique product because it's this really weird piece of regulation that kind of sits in between there, which is, generally speaking, when you're a legislator, you say is if you've got an office or some other commercial real estate asset, you'd say is, the owner of that building can enter into whatever terms they want with the lender. You're both commercial parties. And so, have at it. Just agree to whatever you're going to agree to. And there's very little regulation that sits behind it. Because we have single family assets typically as the collateral, so a lot of rental properties, fix and flips, these sorts of things, you have this weird patchwork of state and federal laws that are applied to the transactions. And so our firm is really revolved around kind of being the subject matter experts of making a commercial loan or a business purpose loan. But the asset that sits behind it is a single family or duplex or whatever it might be. But but these smaller balance transactions and trying to guide our clients in being able to make those loans and to do them comfortably across the country and have one, contact point to be able to do this nationally.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you guys provide such a fantastic service, and it is very niche based, but it's definitely broadened out over the years. Like for instance, I had a recent experience as a client of Geraci as I was building out a mobile home fund. And, it's like to be able to talk to an attorney that's going to structure investment documents that understands real estate is actually fairly rare, like that understands both SEC law and a single family asset class, and it's like, or an alternative asset class. And so, I know that you guys have made such massive inroads in our communities, both on the real estate side as well as the private lending side, and provide such a fantastic offering to our clientele. One of the big things that you guys rolled out this year that I'm really excited that on the AAPL side, it's a partnership there, but I think it has implications all the way over onto the real estate side as well as your Lightning Docs program, and so and the offering there. So if you don't mind, just go over what you guys released this last year and how it really pertains to the real estate investor.
Yeah, so what's interesting is if you go and you buy a home tomorrow, there's a 95% chance that you're signing a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac deed of trust. You have, most of these loans are sold on the secondary market. They're heavily regulated loans, and there's clear government agencies that kind of run the show, and there's standardization all across the product line there, particularly related to loan documents. And for those who have made a private lender loan, that doesn't exist in our world. There just is no standard. And that is very challenging because what basically happens is traditionally you would have had to hire a law, you may have had a set of loan documents given to you. You go to another market, you hire a law firm in that market and say, take a look at my docs, or can I buy your documents? But it's completely fragmented. There is just no standard available. And so for us as a law firm, we need to prepare, as a primary line of business for us, we prepare loan documents on behalf of our clients. And as a law firm, I have significant malpractice risk that carries through that. I have to make sure that my documents are enforceable, that they're written consistently, that we're not using old transactional data. And I want them to look as similar as possible no matter what state you're in, even if that state has very different requirements, because I want you to have ease of transacting. So I had a compelling business need to basically create a system that was sustainable for the law firm. And that's what Lightning Docs initially was. And then over time, we realized, the same way that we can produce documents here, so, kind of think of it like a legal Zoom, right? The same way we can produce documents, could we just license that technology to our clients, have them go online and generate the exact same documents we would do here? And that's what Lightning Docs is, and that's what we announced at AAPL, which was really trying to create standardization. We're trying to create our version of Fannie and Freddie so that you can make a loan, and you can easily sell that loan to any counterparty, and they can appreciate that you have high quality documents that are consistent. And also something that doesn't have all the consumer stuff that you don't want in the loan, right? So you could go and you could get forms online, but they typically are designed for your consumer loan transactions. And so really an opportunity for people to have access to high quality loan documents without the need of hiring a bunch of attorneys and trying to, DIY your way through it.
Yeah, I love that for multiple reasons. I mean, obviously, standardization is really, really important. But for a real estate investor on this side, because they're not actually getting the yield that they desire over the last 12, 18, 24 months, many of them have become very sophisticated, and they have jumped into the lending space, right? So they used to be all fix and flip, all buy and hold, and then now it's like 20 to 30% of their revenue is actually being generated by originating loans. And I can't tell you, I mean, I couldn't count them on probably 5 hands how many real estate investors I know that added a department of lending, a division of lending to their actual business structure. What's really scary about that is the liability they're taking on that they don't know that they're taking on because they don't have standardization. And so if I just described you, and that's what you're doing out there today, I want you to listen to Nema, because this is an area that this is their expertise. And if you've added a lending division onto your company and you don't have standardization, documents, processes, so on and so forth, you could be creating a liability for yourself that you just don't know. What are some of the liabilities that they might be creating?
Yeah, and Eddie, you hit the nail on the head, which is so many of our clients, if you think about my side of the business, it's the debt side of the business, right? And so many of our clients were on the other side. They were on the equity side. They were buying properties. They were holding properties. They were renting. They were really the people who were that real estate investor. And they oftentimes accumulated significant wealth. And just as you described, is there are markets in which it's not great to be a purchaser of real estate assets. This probably is a good example of one. And so many of our clients actually switched over and made the switch to becoming a lender. And the problem is they're really good at underwriting and risk analysis and these sorts of things. But the problem is that lending is just kind of what we talked about earlier, is it's particularly on single family assets, it's a really oddly regulated product. And so more often than not, people think that they can just make a loan and there's really no consequence, that they don't need to be licensed, that there's no sort of loan limitations or regulations that are going to govern the transaction. And so oftentimes they are making non-compliant loans, and you can have some really disastrous situations. So I'll just give you an example of one. We have what's known as usury laws. And usury laws basically says, here's a maximum amount of interest you can charge. And they're usually pretty high, 18%, 21%. You'll see kind of all of these different derivatives. And people will say, well, I'm never going to do a 21% loan. Why do I care? But the problem is once you start doing a 10% loan and you've got a couple points, and then you start charging a late charge and you might have some default interest, it's really easy to actually end up in a situation where you might now have a usurious loan. And sometimes the consequence of a usurious loan is that you don't get your principal back. And so it's, you can really lose all of this hard-earned capital because you just didn't know what you were doing. And so it's definitely one of those things where I think it's something you can kind of go on autopilot and be able to have it processed like you would have on your real estate investment side. But it's definitely not something that I would go in blindly and say, well, I know real estate, so lending is just some derivative of owning real estate.
Yeah. How do they find access to Lightning Docs?
Yeah, so we have a website. It's lightningdocs.com. That's going to have a website on there with kind of a demo and common use cases, all that good stuff. But fun fact is the vast majority of people cannot spell lightning, from what I've experienced in life. It is not lightning. Yeah. And so, think of a light bulb and then type the word ing at the end of it. You're halfway there.
They put a couple of extra vowels in there, lightening.
Yes.
So very good, awesome. And if you're a real estate investor and you've even considered jumping over into the debt side, something or into the lending side, you should definitely consider that. And I want to make sure that we recommend that to you as just good business practice for you. And it's at least one layer of legal help. You might not have to pay. What are you guys charging, about $800-900 an hour right now? I'm just kidding. But
well, not far off. I mean, for the partners, they're closer to $700 an hour right now.
But it's like I was joking. That seemed crazy, but then you came back and said 700. But anyways, no, I know legal fees. I just got my notices. We were talking before we got on the thing, and that was what I got from all of my legal counsel was all of their notices of the increase in hourly rate the first week of January. I was like, oh, this is fantastic, but. No, the reality of it is it is an expensive practice that you're in, and you've reduced it down to what's so necessary. So if they can't afford to retain you, at least they have this layer of protection, which I think is fantastic. Let's jump into the next topic. You guys have a conference series. Geraci puts on a great conference series, and your first one is coming up. And I want you to talk a little bit about that because I think sometimes we focus so heavy on the lending side and the real estate investor misses out. It's weird. So we have the American Association of Private Lenders and we have Think Realty. And rarely do people from the American Association of Private Lenders go to Think Realty, and rarely do Think Realty people go to AAPL. However, AAPL people constantly, they lament over the fact that they need more deal flow. And guess where that deal flow sits? Think Realty. And then when I'm at Think Realty, they all lament over, I wish I had better access to capital. And you know where the capital exists? AAPL. Well, one of the areas where capital exists is at your conference series as well. And they can get there in short order. So if you don't mind, just kind of give us your upcoming event.
Yeah, so in April, we'll have our Innovate event. It's labeled Innovate because we try to basically say, where is the market headed? And so it really will be a targeted discussion, both for real estate investors as well as for lenders. Because at the end of the day we're both fixated on one thing, and that's an underlying piece of real estate. And how the real estate market is doing will necessarily affect both sides of the equation. So this one I'm really excited about. We actually have a panel that I'm going to be leading on this one about the data side of the industry, and we're going to have 3 different perspectives. So I have Lightning Docs, and Lightning Docs has loan data. So we can say, hey, right now, if you're looking for a private lender loan, you're looking at whatever the percentage is going to be. Here are the terms in which the offerings are occurring, and so people can kind of get a gauge of what is the current lending market. We're also going to have Forecasa there, which is a data aggregator in the private lending space. They're going to be talking about sheer numbers of transactions, which markets are expanding, so more of a geography-focused conversation. And then the last component is we'll have Adam there as well, or Adam Data, and they're going to be talking about the foreclosure activity, right? What are the investment opportunities to purchase real estate? And so we're hoping that multi-pronged approach is, no matter who you are as a member of the audience, you'll be able to walk away with a better understanding of what is happening currently within the real estate market and maybe what's ahead of us a little bit. And then beyond that, we just have a lot of really great discussion points. We think of the conferences as an opportunity to add value to our clients, as well as to vendors and prospective clients and other people that we want in the orbit of our firm. And so our goal there is really just to put on a high value show in which people will go, they'll be able to learn and get an idea of what's happening in the market. So we'll have other panels, for example, one of them is just unique business models. So we'll have people that have various licenses that are kind of unique to the industry. We'll have people, we'll have the CEO of Kiavi, which is probably the largest private lender, come speak. And really just people that have unique perspectives is our goal of the content side of it. And then, it's a day full, as you already know, Eddie, of networking and meeting like-minded individuals, and hopefully leaving the conference with new relationships that can add value to your business.
Sure. Is it located at Balboa Bay again this year?
It's at Balboa Bay, and it makes me very sad. I think this is our last year. So for those who don't know, we host a conference. It's at Balboa Bay Resort, which is gorgeous. It's got, the quintessential, when you think of Newport Beach, this is it. It's got all the yachts in the background, and it's a gorgeous spot, but it only fits about 400 people, and we had a little over 400, and then it got a little bit tight because we did that last year. And so, fortunately for our success, but unfortunately, we're going to have to find a new location probably next year.
It's a fantastic event. If you are making your event calendar out for this year, it's April 17th and 18th, and you need to make sure you put this one on your event calendar. Many of you will just go from real estate event to real estate event to real estate event to real estate event, and which is fantastic. But in transitioning markets like we're in right now, you need to broaden your scope and broaden your horizon. I know many of you just hit the single family real estate events and you'll hit them all year long. And I think that's great. But many of you need to consider going to commercial events and industrial events and warehousing and lending. And you need to broaden your horizon this year. This is where you need to have your head up and your eyes open and your ears open, because there are opportunities out there that are coming down the pipe that you don't want to miss. And I know that coming to this conference, Innovate, will cause you to innovate in your business. It will cause you to think differently, to see different scopes and ideas. And they always have fantastic speakers. And I know every year that I've been able to go, it's been fantastic. The resort itself is worth going. I mean, in mid-April in Newport Beach, it's pretty tough to beat. Sitting there, staring at the yacht that I want to buy, and out your window while learning more about real estate and lending and how to get the wealth to actually afford the yacht. It's a home run.
I love it.
Yeah, very good. Well, Nema, we're out of time, but I thank you so much for joining us today, being on the show. Thank you for all that you do. If you are a real estate investor, we have the GRC, the Government Relations Committee, as a part of Think Realty, which Nema and his associates, Melissa's on there quite a bit, they're from Geraci, provide such great content with government relations as they are our representatives in DC and at local state legislative issues and concerns that we have. And so I want you to go on and sign up for that as a part of the Think Realty offering that we have. If you want to see more lending specific, you can actually go to aaplonline.com and sign up for the Government Relations Committee news there. Or if you want to be more real estate specific, you can stay at Think Realty. But get involved, and I want to thank you guys so much for always being such a fantastic partner, Nema. You have done so much for our industry, and I'm so appreciative.
Same here, Eddie. Feel the same way about you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Have a great day. Thank you so much, Think Realty, for being a part. I want to say one more thank you to our podcast sponsor, brought to you by Civic Financial Services, proudly serving brokers and investors. Civic is the reliable lender for real estate investments, including buy and hold, fix and flip, fix to rent. To learn more, go to CivicFS, Frank Sally, civicfs.com/Think Realty. Do one thing before you turn off this podcast, and that is go to thinkrealty.com and click on events. And I want you to click the Houston button and consider coming to Houston. You can use the word podcast as a keyword to get buy one, get one free there. Be a part of our events this year. We've got 2 events. We've got both Houston and then Tampa this year, going Texas and Florida, the 2 prime real estate markets for investing this year. And we want you to be a part of them. And we put a lot of time and effort, put a lot of great people on stage for you, and know that they'll provide massive value for you. Be a part of that, and we would love to see you there. I'll be there. A lot of the Geraci team will be there. And also, if you get the chance, go to Innovate right there with Geraci in Balboa Bay, Newport Beach, California. Have a great day. Thank you so much for being a part of our community. We love that you're a part of it. I hope that you'll communicate back with us. Let us know what you like, dislike, or want more of, and we appreciate it so much. Have a great day and happy investing.